Bar for bar album reviews. TroyLLF, Free Play 4. Free Play 4 is the latest in the Free Play series of tapes from San Francisco rapper TroyLLF. With this project, Troy enlists a plethora of producers and features that only add to the quality of the tape. Troy had a goal of releasing 5 projects this year, with the previous 4 being Poster Boy Troy 2, Muse Music, Til Death Do Us Part 2, and Muse Music 2. This project takes a different approach to releases though, as it's only going to be direct to consumer, so be sure to hit up Troy at 419-518-5458 for updates as well as a mix of this project. Free Play 4 comes in at a total runtime of about 30 minutes with 10 tracks, so it's a pretty quick listen. This project actually took me by surprise because it was my first time listening to Troy, but man, it's really made me want to go back and listen to the rest of his work from earlier this year as well as years prior. Free Play 4 starts off with the track Living Legend. This track is a really solid intro as it brings you a taste of what's to expect from this tape. It also does a really good job of introducing you to Troy by telling you what some of his influences are and where he came from. The start of the track is dope too, saying, "Our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us." This is a great way to introduce the project, especially in the midst of the pandemic, where many are feeling pretty down and it just feels like everything's going wrong. I really like the song because there's no chorus, but instead, flanking the verses, we hear snippets of conversations, which really adds to the idea that Troy is a living legend, as the title suggests. The next track, Core, features production from Beats by HT. The track is about how Troy is real to the core. There's no fakeness here. This track is really to address the people who just kind of lie in their raps about where they're from and what they've done. A line that stood out to me here is, "Watch him wiggle in a room full of vultures, watch him move like Percy or a Hova," which I took as, look how well he carries himself as if he were Percy or Hova while in a room full of these vultures. These vultures could be culture vultures, but it could also be just referring to people who are actively trying to eat away at you and keep you down. This then moves into Ain't Got Time featuring King Tahoe and Yasi. This song is about how he puts music and the movement first and can't really waste time if it's not going to benefit him. The chorus from King Tahoe says, "I still ain't got time for these hoes," which can make it sound like it's directed towards women that don't really have anything to offer them, but based on the verses, I feel that it's more of a general term used for people who just aren't benefiting them in any way that they want, because he's got money on his mind. I also just want to draw attention here to King Tahoe because his performance on this track, as well as subsequent tracks, is damn good. Never Broke Again, ball out, carries on the sentiment of Ain't Got Time in the sense that Troy is money motivated. He makes sure to let you know that you gotta hustle for your money and that there are a few ways to get it, like investing in like real estate or stocks, as well as cryptocurrencies. Really, the goal of this track is to let you know that there's no way that he's gonna be broke again, but that won't change him as a person. He's still the same guy, keeping it real. I do appreciate that in the second verse, Troy brings up the mindsets that some people have. He talks about how there's this guy that comes to the table and instead of bringing food to help everyone succeed, he's just bringing gossip and other things that kind of keep people down. Young, Wild, and Dangerous features King Tahoe, Yane, and Hibachi. This track builds on what Troy was saying in Core about him being real. Being famous is kind of secondary, especially if you have to change who you are as a person. Everyone here is still living the young, wild, and dangerous lifestyle. And they're still getting looks. So why should they adjust themselves to be famous? It could also be seen as them trying to acknowledge that people are still living that lifestyle, but have to learn to prioritize certain things like making money. Kind of similar to the previous tracks where Troy mentioned that he's going to keep hustling and making moves that are good for him personally and financially. Next, we have Loyalty featuring King Tahoe. This song is about someone that Troy is involved with and respects. It's really just showing how this other person is ride or die for him, and he'll never have to question her loyalty. No matter what goes down, she's always there to hold it down for him, and that's an awesome relationship to have. And I know I've already mentioned it, but King Tahoe really does his thing, and I feel like he brings a lot of these tracks together. The track ends with a conversation between some friends, which then leads to things popping off, which kind of makes the next song and the title of it make a lot of sense. And the next track is Die Young, featuring Yasi. Following the gunshots and popping off that we got on the previous track, this track starts off acknowledging the street life and how beefs can escalate and make living tough. However, it isn't just about that. Troy brings up how the system isn't fair to black people and how there really isn't justice for black people in America. We've seen this for a long time, and especially this year. It's still crazy how much work has to be put in by some people just to be accepted by the general public, only to still be discriminated against. The second verse really pushed the get rich or die trying mindset because people will just be jealous. Sometimes when others see you doing well, they want the same thing and will help you. However, on the other hand, there are people who get jealous and have the mindset of, well, if I can't have it, no one can. Why should you have it? Which is just another thing you have to kind of look out for. This then brings us to What You Think, featuring Want More Nate and Pussy. This track is about stacking your money and the methods of doing so, but also just not slowing yourself down. Once you start to get the ball rolling, you have to use that momentum to keep it pushing. The chorus to me is also just a response to what people or yourself may be thinking or asking you, like, hey, yo, you really on your grind? To which you reply, man, what you think? This project begins to wrap up with the track Shine Forever featuring Jade. The only thing that originally threw me off with this track is the sirens at the beginning, but everything else after that is solid. This track reflects on the come up and where Troy came from to get to where he is today. Nothing's going to slow him down, and he's going to shine as long as the sun's around. He also touches on how real people live forever due to the memories that people have of them. I do also really enjoy this track because it's a little bit different from what we've heard thus far, and it really kind of feels almost like an outro. However, the final track on Free Play 4 is You Got It featuring King Tahoe. And like I was kind of alluding to, this track kind of feels more like a bonus track than an outro. In fact, like I said, Shine Forever would have been a fantastic end to this tape. However, that does not mean that this is a bad song. This track is almost like a love letter to a woman that he's seen in the club or just someone that he's seen in general, where basically every bar here is an appreciation of her, just letting her know that she's got it. Overall, this was a really solid project, and I'm glad to have been able to check it out. Like I mentioned at the top of this review, Free Play 4 is going a slightly different route in terms of distribution, whereas as of now, it's just direct to consumer. So be sure to hit up TroyLLF at 416-518-5458 to check it out. My favorite tracks here are Living Legend, Ain't Got Time, Young, Wild, and Dangerous, Loyalty, and Shine Forever. Definitely be sure to tap in with Troy to check out this project. It's well worth it. As I mentioned earlier in this review as well, this was my first time listening to a full project from him, and I'm seriously impressed. This tape has a little bit of everything for everyone, really, and I feel that most listeners will enjoy it. With that said, let me know in the comments below what you thought of this tape, if you've listened to it, and what your favorite tracks are. Also remember to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you for watching, and please stay safe out there.